oh, that, why does that look like that? The uncommon looks like that. Well, this common looks nice. They're not gonna like look at the bottom and be like, oh, yeah, the why the uncommon looks uglier, but the common is nicer. All right, happy everybody. Welcome back to NFT Starts Here. Today I have my brother Popey. Well, his name's Joe. We know him as Popey. We're here to talk today about my issue with the Superman 1939 NFT comic that was released by DC Universe in October, about a month ago. So I know this is late, but I've been wanting to talk about this, but Popey decided to have a baby on the same week of the NFT, and I was really pissed about it. And
Not about the baby.
not about the baby, but anyways, no, we have to congratulate him. Obviously, that's my beautiful niece, and yeah, when we were on the phone and this thing got released, I was so upset at how this thing was being graded. Right, I've talked about it in my YouTube and my channel about how I first got into this. Right, I was introduced into how the card buzz, the collecting of cards, was booming, and my other brother got me into it. I looked into my cards, and then I learned about grading and PSA and Beckett, and I was like, man, there's so much time to be able to finally get what your car is valued at. You have to send it off to PSA, you got to wait 4 months, you got to get it back, and hope and pray that you get a 10, at least a 9 to get some type of value back in your card. Then he introduced me into NFTs. I was like, and of course, right, these are digital comics. These are digital cards, ultimately, right? Obviously, there's more depth into that, but I liked it because you don't need to deal with grading, right? You don't need to deal with grading. You purchase this 1939 Superman, and it's yours to keep, and it's yours to flaunt in the metaverse or the future metaverse that we're gonna have, and or sell it, right? Whatever you want to do, whether you're collecting or you're looking to make some money out of it, right? But then, mind you, I'm 2 months into dealing with NFTs. This Superman, which was minted at 3,000 only, altogether, as it opened up in the market, you know, obviously everybody's tuned in. People are in queue. Over 100,000 people are getting involved with this Superman comic, and it's super crazy to try and get into it. Then obviously you can't get a mint, and then the marketplace opens, and we're going crazy just to see which one should we buy, right? What can we afford? And we got to go by our budget, right? So it goes in the marketplace. We jump in. I saw an Epic at $500 when it first opened up. What did you see?
I saw the Epic at the time it was $350.
How about the Legendary? What did you see?
The Legendary I saw at $1,500, but it was scooped up, sniped in the market quick.
Yeah, and then at the end of that, or hours later to the end of that day, and then weeks later, it went all the way up to $10,000, the Legendary, right? But of course, who would have known, right? This is DC's biggest comic release or NFT release, and we didn't know what would be worth it to invest in, right? So that goes on, right? And let's just talk about each of the comics for now and see the rarities, and we'll go into the conversation from there. So this is the Legendary, right? Pretty much perfect, and of course, there's only 5 out of the 3,000. Only 5% are Legendary items. This one's graded at 9.8. So let's pretend this is like a PSA thing, right? And then next we have the Epic, where there's 10% of the 3,000 there, and this is graded at a 9.4. So it's not almost perfect, but definitely better than these lower ones. Then we have the Rare. So you can see some of the browning that's here, aging. We'll open up the comic a little bit later. So this is made up of 15% of the mint count of 3,000, and it's graded at a 9, so still not bad. Then the uncommon, right, second to last. It's obviously brown, it's wrinkled, it's got a torn page here, and this is digital, right? It's uncommon. It's 30% of the 3,000, and it's graded at a 2.0. So we went from a 9 all the way down to a 2. And then, surprise, surprise, the common, which is obviously the most available, is 40% of the 3,000 and is graded at an 8.5, and obviously way higher than the uncommon, right? So I'm more pissed about this because for me, well, actually, we didn't know we were going to do this. We both bought the uncommon, and we're psyched about it. We're like, hey, okay, it's 3,000. That's very little for something so valuable. Mind you, this was what time did it start in Guam?
In Guam, early in the morning, at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
2, 3 in the morning, and we were both awake, and I did not sleep all the way through, and I had work that morning. So, and I think at like 4, I realized this thing is graded. It's like, not only is it graded, this uncommon is a 2.0, and the common is an 8.5. This should be the uncommon should be an 8.5, and the common should be a 2. And mind you, right, we're on a budget, we're not millionaires. And I was so pissed, right? And I was messaging him. I didn't want to call him because, obviously it's 3, 4 in the morning by the time I realized it. So I'm messaging him, and I couldn't sleep, and I needed to vent and talk about it. And I was pissed. So I was monitoring the market, right? And here's my issue, right? I just got into the NFTs. I'm not a millionaire. I'm trying to budget. I'm trying to get the best bang for my buck with this NFT, this super NFT, right? And then I realized the one that I invested in is worth less than the common, right? And all I'm thinking is, isn't this for the digital world? Why are we grading digital stuff? Like, it doesn't make sense, right? And mind you, it looks cool. It does look cool. I'm not gonna lie about that. But make it a common or something. So I could buy an uncommon and a common or something. If I want it to look like that, I'll get it. But why are you making something more valuable look uglier, right? In the end, in the metaverse, we want to be able to display this and show this off to people. And why am I going to show the more valuable comic that looks torn when I can get a common for cheaper, but yet the rarity it's not as rare, right? That's my thing, right? So I don't know.
We had a conversation about this, and it was about an hour-long conversation. We said we should have recorded it. It was not, my thing was I thought it was cool. I like really did. Well, mind you, I actually collected comics back in the day, more so of a Marvel fan. I have nothing against DC. I have a bunch of DC comics too, but I have a VV digital collectible comics, and there is no grading system. There's different rarities. And so this was new. No one knew about this, right? The whole DC community did not know. Everyone that got the comic didn't know about the grading. When I saw it, I thought it was pretty damn cool. I thought that, okay, now, mind you, if you had the common, I also agree should have been a 2.0, but I thought the fact that it was it looked age and you had less in the rarity, I thought it was a win-win, right? Jude disagreed, but I think it personally, I think it really doesn't matter about the grading because they're all digital, right? And it was new. It was something different, right? Something to talk about. So that's my take on it.
But my thing is again, why? If I wanted to do this, if I want to invest in this, I would have just done cards, right? Why are you touching what it looks like? I want it to be perfect, I don't see what you're trying to go with this. Why is this okay?
Well, I think it's different, right? It's a way of transitioning the physical world into the digital world, and it'll never change, right? It's not. I actually think it's cool. You put it up in your metaverse, in your showroom, and I think that an age comic would look pretty damn cool in the metaverse, And it's also, it's the uncommon has less min count, so kind of win-win.
I don't think so. I mean, you showed me this Instagram. Was it Instagram or? Yeah, you showed me an Instagram video where these guys vault, and then they had the 1939 comic, and it was worth how much?
$5 million.
$5 freaking million, right?
$5.3 million right there.
And obviously, like you said, we're early into the NFTs, right? Supposedly we're early, and other companies are starting to invest into NFTs and trying to transform their business or get into the NFT world, make people start collecting. And for me, it's more of the end goal, right? Sure, if I could make a buck or two here now, but really for me, it's the end goal. Like, I want to be that guy that has that vault, and I have an uncommon, because when that time comes, when everybody gets into it and everybody wants it, an uncommon will be hopefully 100 grand. And then a common will be 50 grand or something like that. But then when I show my vault with $100,000 uncommon comic, and someone looks at it and I show it off, they be like, dude, Jude, your comic looks like trash. What are you so proud about this thing? It's like, that's my point with this whole thing. Why in the world would I want to show this off? It looks cool. It looks vintage, right?
Because to me, the discussions about the common and the uncommon, right? The epic, the rare, and the legendary. I think it's set the right way. Mm-hmm. But I would say I'd have an uncommon which is more rare than the common.
So you have a crappy looking, rarer 1939 comic than somebody off the street that has a better looking comic than you. You're so proud of that.
No, I think
this thing is subjective, right? This is subjective, right? It's like what I think is okay and what I think is acceptable, whatever. And sure, I'm not supposed to really care about what people think, but I care the fact that, let's just say I got stuck with this uncommon. We're gonna get into what I ended up doing, and I think this is really why I'm pissed, because I spent more money. But I care that I have a good-looking comic, whether it was me, the only person in this world, and I had this. I want this to be the best-looking comic it can be. And more, what irritates me again is that this is digital. Why am I gonna have a rarer comic that looks ugly? Why would I want that?
Well, I think it's about perspective, right? And hear me out here. So in your opinion, the comic is better because it looks better. Graded, right? It's graded 2, graded 9, right? Graded 8.5. Not in this digital world, right? Yeah. And how it looks, whether it looks wrinkled or it looks crisp, right? It's all digital. So it really doesn't matter, right? In the digital world, in my opinion. Now,
but there are better looking comics than this 2.0. Look at the disparity, right? It's freaking a grade of 2 versus a grade of 8.5. Damn. Could they have closed the gap just a little bit?
They could have.
That's a huge gap. Like, I don't know.
But if we're talking 5-10 years down the line, when we're in the metaverse, and again these vaults or your room, your galleries, what's gonna matter is what you got, not necessarily how. To me, what you got and maybe how it looks, but when we're talking comics, is what you got, right? Grading is in the physical world, right? And it's in this digital world. It's called grading, but it's just a property. It's just a property. It's not a value. So, if you ask me, because to me the value is not in the grading. The value is in the rarity.
Okay, so would you agree that they could have just take out the grading? If
they
with grading or no grading, it has nothing to do with this. What you're saying is grading, no grading doesn't matter.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying what's more important to me is the rarity, because it's not like they have a different cover. If it's a different cover, maybe, right? But they're all the same comic, just different properties and the way that they did it, because they didn't have different, covers. Mm-hmm. So they just put grading just as a property to differentiate the different rarities. But they're all the same comic, right?
Yeah, because I think that's good you brought that up, right? That what do you call?
So let me ask you this. which one? I like think it's perspective. Are people going to care more about rarity or the grading?
They're gonna care about rarity for
Rarity.
sure. And we talked
To me,
about this.
that's all that matters, right? I mean, that's what matters. That's not all that matters, but that's what matters.
Yeah.
Especially 10 years down the line. They're not gonna. To me, I don't think they're gonna care that it's a 2.5 or a 2.0 graded comic. They're gonna care that it's an uncommon because it's a lower mint count than the common.
Yeah.
Right.
But and it's good that you brought up, right, like how, and I think I'm gonna bring this up. This Harley Quinn, right? You can check it out on the screen. With this, they ultimately just changed the design altogether, right? There's no grading involved.
Different cover.
But the less common it is, the more not so great looking it is as well, right? So, and they
Based on opinion.
ultimately look different. They just look different, right? Yeah, and then this is perspective.
Yeah.
Right, this is a subjective of
Right.
what you think looks cool or doesn't
Right.
look cool, whatever, you know. So, but this versus grading it, it's two different things. One, on top, first it looks different, and two, you're telling people that, hey, this comment that you have is at 8.5, just FYI, okay? But this grading is at 2.0, just letting you know, okay? And whether you, in the end, 2.0 grade is a crappy number versus an 8.5. Just letting you know, okay? Hey, I know you bought this. Let's just say these things cost 6 figures each instead of $10 at the time or $20 or $100 at the time, right? You know, say, hey, you're gonna spend 100K on a uncommon, okay, or uncommon. You're gonna get a 2.0, okay? Just letting you know. But if you want a common, it's $90,000. So, but you get an 8.5. Just letting you know. Okay. Don't worry.
I think it depends on the kind of person that you're like talking to also, right?
True.
You're probably talking about the physical collector that doesn't know anything about NFTs, doesn't know anything about the like digital world. They're gonna care about that grading.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking to someone that's in the NFT world or in the metaverse or collects digital assets, they're gonna talk about rarity. They're gonna talk about looks, but they're not gonna care about the grading. It's just a property, right?
But
it's also how it looks, but
yeah.
It's about rarity, and like you said yourself, which one is more important, whether it's now or whether it's 10 years down the line, rarity or grading? The answer is rarity. I think we both agree on that, right? It may kind of not be as cool that the grading is less, but rarity matters, right? If we're talking about the same comic, and we are, so that's why to me the grading's just the property of the NFT. It's just one of the traits that separates the different rarities besides the mint count, right? Yeah. I think it's kind of cool how DC did it because they didn't I wouldn't say damage. They didn't change Superman #1. They kept it Superman #1. They didn't give it a different cover. They didn't give it, and they stayed true to the brand, which a lot of respect, right? So I think that grading it was some way to just separate the rarities. Besides, what if they all look the same, right? Just completely the same, but you have a common, you have an uncommon, and it's like, how do you know, right? It's just by the mint number, and they don't have mint numbers, right? So they put a property. What kind of property? It's a grading. Now, I do agree that they should have made the common the 2.0 and graded, like 9.8 is legendary, make sense, but they didn't.
You almost agreed with me there.
No. If they were to, I think if they were to do that, then it's a win-win on both our sides. But the fact that they didn't, to me, it's not a big deal, right? And if I was to look at all of them without knowing the rarities, because I used to collect comics and I have a good appreciation of vintage comics, right? Classic comics, Grail comics. This is a Grail comic, right? Without knowing the rarities, I would have wanted this uncommon. I thought it looked cool, right? Because we're in the digital world. I'm not buying a physical comic that I know is going to be graded, and what's the value of that? I think it was a good way to kind of transition, like evolve the physical world into this digital world of a very Grail comic, right? That's my opinion.
Anyways, So I want to get into why I'm more pissed about it. One, right? This is my first DC investment. Mind you, I'm 2 months in now. It was 1 month into being into NFTs. I'm actually, I'm into UFC Strike. I'm into the Panini, anything UFC for now. But he introduced me to this DC. I was like, oh shoot, this is a holy grail or grail, whatever, and I gotta jump into this, right? So I had my budget and I set it there, and then I say, okay, I want to try not to get the lowest grade, so I settled for the uncommon, and then I realized how the grading was. I was like, dude, I don't want the ugliest, in my opinion, comic of all five of these. So I made it a point to try and grab that at least a rare, right? Because I wasn't gonna settle for a common, and I had to go up at least one more. So this is all within hours. I'm just monitoring the market and seeing how expensive it's getting. And I was trying to close that gap between uncommon and rare so I can sell my uncommon and be able not to spend too much to get that rare, right? So what ultimately happened is I bought the uncommon for 250, right? And then I was able to sell it for 600, and I bought a rare for 900, right? So I ended up, I don't know what the math is for that. I'll put it up here and whatever. So I ended up spending about 300 some dollars for a rare, right?
Awesome.
So sure, that's okay. And obviously it's trending. The prices are going down now, which is expected. But again, at the time, we didn't know where it's going to be eventually. So then that's ultimately why I was pissed, because I was awake, I stayed up, and there was no way I was going to settle for this uncommon 2.0 graded comic. And it just didn't make sense to me, man.
Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. Which comic would you get now? The common or the uncommon? Like now, if you had a choice to buy one, which one would you get?
I can't answer that question
Yes,
because
yes, you can.
I don't want the common as much as I actually don't want the uncommon more than I don't.
So then
want the
you would
common.
get the common.
I would visually get the common.
You would visually get the common. If you had a choice to buy one and
Yeah.
one of the two, you would
Yeah.
get the common.
Because there's only 3,000, I would pick the common.
You would?
Yeah.
Well, and for me, it's the same reason, but it's the different result. Because it's a 3,000 mint count, I definitely get the uncommon because of the rarity.
Okay.
Because of the rare. But that's just my opinion. It's, the way I see it, the market will tell, right? And what does the market say?
That.
Which one's valued more now?
The uncommon.
The uncommon, okay.
By a small fraction.
By a small
Between the
fraction,
two.
but,
Small, tiny fraction.
let's say, okay, you had mentioned maybe one of them hits 100,000, right? If you put that into perspective, right? If the uncommon eventually becomes 100,000, how much is the common, right? And
90,000.
you would like still want to keep.
I would
still
still
prefer
want
to get
that
that
common,
common.
bro.
Okay.
I would still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
In the end, there was no way I was gonna settle for a common or uncommon.
Okay.
I
well,
would
that's,
not accept that. Like, if I,
But the
the
issue.
only way I would have stuck with the common or uncommon is if the rare was if the rare was super
Was
out of my
unattainable,
budget.
right,
Like,
okay.
if it was $2,000, I would not have bought it, and I would have settled and be pissed about with
Or sell it.
keeping the common or uncommon, and pray that it's gonna go up and make some money, or I'm gonna have to sell my other NFTs from UFC Strike or something, make some money to make up so I can buy the rare. But I'll be pissed. Like, I'll be so mad. That's the truth. Like, that's it.
Well, I think I think it's perspective, but I think it's they're digital assets. They're NFTs. Grading is just a property. It's just a property.
So in the end, right? And I think
it is also how it looks.
We'll finish it in this, right? Is in the end, there's only 3,000,
Okay.
right? All of them are gonna go up. Oh, hopefully, right? We all hope these NFTs are gonna be worth what we're paying for now, so that they can raise in value when we get older, right? So like how the 1939 right now is $5 million, right?
Right.
Because there's only 3,000 of this, all of them are going to jump up, hopefully, let's just pretend up to 5 million for the legendary, and everything's going to be in the millions, right? Let's just say that. Or it could even be a million for legendary and then goes downwards from there. In the end, it's still a lot of money, right? It's all a lot of money. Now, when it's worth $1 million for the common and 2 million or 1.3 million for the uncommon, I have a better looking. I will have a better looking common than an uncommon, because they're both valuable, because there's only 3,000 in the world.
Okay. Now, I also think this has to do with, it's not just the perspective, but the person buying, because are you a collector or are you an investor, right? And I think you're kind of speaking on both sides. But to me, as a collector, and I have to admit, I'm also, the investment side gets very, it's fun, and I also like buy some of these for like investment as well. But it's all about what you want when you're going to buy it, right? When we're talking about making money or how much it's going to cost down the line, and if we sell it and we make money off it, that's the investor side of it. The collector side, it's like buy what you want, right? And me, I would have, like I said, if they were lined up, knowing that it's a digital asset, it's not a physical comic, I would have gotten the uncommon, not knowing anything about the properties, just how it looked, and knowing that it was a vintage Grail 1939 comic digitally. I would have gotten that. Okay. So that's what I would have done. Okay. We're in the digital world. These are NFTs, you know.
And we're still in the different pages. So
yeah,
and I'm sticking to it.
And I am too.
One more thing. I keep saying one more thing, one last thing, but and sure, it matters what I think, right? And in the end, what I think is that the common is better looking than the uncommon, and I prefer to have that in my metaverse display. If you were to have if you were in the metaverse and we had a museum, and I own this museum, and I had your uncommon and my common, which I don't, I have a rare, by the way, a 9. What the hell? Let's flaunt this. Crap.
Yeah, but the conversation is about a common and an uncommon. It's not about a rare. It's about a common and an uncommon.
Sure, whatever. And then shoot, disappeared. So me and you were in this museum, and you had your uncommon, I had my common.
Yep.
And a bunch of random people who are Pokemon collectors have no idea about this. Mm-hmm. They collect Pokemon, or people are into fashion, random crowds, and they look at both, and they look at it, and they say, "Oh, why does that look like that?" The uncommon looks like that. Well, this common looks nice. They're not gonna like look at the bottom and be like, "Oh, why the uncommon looks uglier, but the common is nicer." Okay, then they're gonna continue walking and looking at other things. That's a fact.
That's a fact, but
a fact.
No, that's a fact. Okay.
But the reason why it's more irritating
to you
is that it's opposite. That's the point.
It's opposite.
That's the point.
Okay, but the thing is, I think this is where I think the people that are going to be going into the metaverse are going to know about. It's going to be about what you have, meaning, and to me, it's about the brand or the project in the NFT world, and the rarity. Rarity is, there's a discussion about rarity or.
But all of it's rare. There's only 3,000.
Yeah,
it's all rare.
But
it's all rare.
The uncommon is more rare than the common.
What's
that's
the
a fact.
Percentage difference?
I think people aren't going to care that it looked
40-30
wrinkled.
It's different by 10%.
Yeah. And
10%.
the market shows that it's valued more.
So if it was 100, there's 10 more pieces of the common than the uncommon. What in this 3,000? What's 10% of 3,000? 30?
Yeah.
So there's 30.
Whatever it is.
What is it? 30? It's 30. There's only 30 more common than there is.
I don't know if you have the math right. But the point is that it's more rare.
10%. It's 300 actually, right?
Yeah.
Is it 300? 10% of 3,000 is 300?
Yes.
Okay. So
300.
there's 300 more.
Right.
That's okay. But
That's a
in
lot.
the end,
That's a lot when you're talking about only 3,000
in the world,
in the world.
that's little. In the world, that's little. There's only 3,000 available.
That's a lot out of 3,000.
That's a lot out of 3,000.
Yes.
But there's only 3,000 in the world.
Right. Right.
That's right.
Yeah, and but see, and allow me to like rebut, because you said when people come to the metaverse and they're gonna look at these two NFTs
Yes.
that are up in your galleries, one's gonna look, in your words, older or different, not as nice, right?
Ugly.
But you did say they're gonna look at it and they're gonna say, oh. And to me, if I was going in there, I'd say, but what is this? Oh, this is an uncommon. Mm-hmm. That's what I do in the metaverse. Mm-hmm. Because I would know that these two are the same, but they're the same. They come from the same drop, but they're different. Like, what is different about them in this world? It's the rarities, right? So what is different between this and this besides how it looks, right? One's an uncommon. I would want that uncommon. That's me.
That's a word. So they're gonna walk into the metaverse and say, "Oh, this is the 1939 comic. There's only 3,000 of these guys. Check this out. We're able to take a look at this. Oh crap! There's two. We're able to see two of only 3,000 in the world, guys. Check this out." It's like, oh shit, that's kind of ugly. Look at this. This is how it looks, though. It's clear. Let's flip the pages. Look at this. Oh, look at this vintage all torn up. I've seen it. I had the uncommon. You opened the uncommon. I can't do it because I don't own it. So who's going to look at what? You know what I mean? The point is, this is the 1939 comic. That's it.
Right.
That's it. This is the 1939 comic. There's only 3,000 involved. So I would look at the uncommon as an art piece cover. That's it. But I would want to open and read and look at the better looking graded. Like if you had the physical comic in front of you, and despite it's rare already, right? And you had an ugly comic and you had a new comic, you would want to flip through the nicer looking comic.
In the physical world.
Done.
The physical world.
Even here.
No.
No.
Well, no.
How's that different? That's not different.
Mean? It is different. We're in the digital world.
Okay,
these are NFTs.
No, but in the physical, you say the nicer one, right? Okay. And on the digital, you would say the more vintage looking one. They'd want to flip through those pages. Or the which one?
I think it's me. I would want to know what is the difference between the two, and if I were to buy one, or if I wanted one, I would want the more rare one because they're the same comic. They look different, right? But one is more rare. That's it. It's not about looks. Is it's all in the eye of the beholder, right? I mean,
no.
Yeah, I mean, we have to agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree, right. And this is why we had to do this.
Time will tell.
And I wanted to show this to everybody out there. I hope this somehow gets viral. I know it's a small channel. I just started, but I don't care. I'm gonna make my thumbnail be clickbait because I'm so passionate about what I feel about this. And hey, if you want to prove me wrong,
let us know what you think.
Yeah,
let us know what you think. Comment
below, subscribe and like, and then tell us what you think. And if you want to start up and give me a good reason, and we'll chat with you guys, let's do it, because I am so passionately pissed about how this common is graded 8.5, 6.5 more points more than the uncommon. Look at that hole. That's disgraceful, man. That's horrible. So yeah. All right, so yeah, I want to thank my brother for always being my mentor with anything, but more specifically now with NFTs. And obviously I have a lot to learn. I don't even know why I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about, but this is more aesthetics that I'm talking about and whatever. But either way, these are investments and collections. So that's why we're here. So yeah, I want to thank my brother Popey. You can check him out on Discord if you want as well. Don't forget to subscribe to us and yeah, tell us what you think. Peace.
Peace.